Hello and welcome to Philosophy Vibe, the channel where we discuss and debate different philosophical ideas. Today we're going to be discussing universals and particulars, and within this discussion, taking a look at the debate between realists and nominalists. Excellent. So then, what are universals and particulars? Let's start with particulars. A particular is a specific entity or individual that exists. It occupies a portion of space and time. To put it in simple terms, particulars are things and stuff that physically exist in our reality. Everything that surrounds us. This chair is a particular, that cat is a particular, the tree down the road is a particular, I am a particular, etc., etc. A particular can only be in one place at one time. You cannot have two particulars in the same place at the same time, and you cannot have the same particular in two different places at the same time. Now, when we think of particulars, we notice that they have certain qualities. Take this particular apple. It possesses the quality of greenness. It also possesses the quality of being circular. And you can say it possesses an appleness quality, allowing us to recognize it as an apple. Now, although this apple possesses these qualities, so do many other particulars. Both the apple and the tennis ball share the property of greenness. Both the green tennis ball and the blue tennis ball share the property of tennis ballness. Both the tennis ball and the shot put share the property of being spherical, and so on and so on. These are then the universals. Universals are the properties that exist in all particulars and are the ways in which particulars resemble each other. We know what we mean when we say red, as redness is a universal that is part of billions and billions of different particulars. Universals can then exist in many places at the same time, and many universals can exist in the same place at the same time. This rainbow picture, for example, has the universal of red and blue and green, as well as squareness and smallness, etc., etc. All universals, all existing at the same place at the same time. We can destroy a particular, but we cannot destroy a universal. So, if I smash the red vase, I have destroyed the red vase particular, but I have not destroyed redness itself. Very interesting. Now, on the face of it, this seems perfectly fine. We have individual objects, and then we have wider concepts that objects possess, that resemble each other, or make the objects what they are. This helps us understand and categorize the world. It helps us make more sense of our surroundings. So we have universals and particulars. However, in philosophy, thousands of years have been spent pondering what is known as the problem of universals. Particulars are a given. We see them, we experience them, we interact with them, that's fine. But what is the true nature of a universal? Should universals be seen as an entity in themselves? Should the properties that objects possess go beyond the objects themselves? Does redness and blueness and squareness actually exist in their own right, external to the particulars? And if so, what is the ontology of these universals? Do particulars truly have resemblances, or are universals nothing more than a linguistic technique to make life easier for us? We are now going to look into the debate around the problem of universals and see if we are right to accept the existence of universals. Great, let's begin. Very well. So, those that believe that universals do exist in their own right are called realists. On the other side, those that reject the idea of universals and believe only particulars exist are called nominalists. We will start by looking into the realist arguments for universals. The earliest arguments for realism came from Plato within his works around the theory of forms. Platonic Realism claims that universals do indeed exist. These are in fact perfect representations of the concept known as forms. So, if we look at this yellow banana, the yellowness derives from the form of yellow, and banananess derives from the form of the banana, the perfect representation in which all bananas come from. Forms exist beyond space and time in what Plato refers to as the world of forms, and every particular is just a mere shadow of the perfect form of itself. So when we look at different cats, each one is a particular, but what makes a cat is that it is derived from the form of a cat, the perfect cat that lives in a realm beyond space and time and gives all cats the cattiness qualities that allow us to understand them as cats. All cats, no matter how different, all come from this perfect form of a cat. Yes, I understand, but there are severe problems with Plato's theory of forms that would actually damage the concept of universals. Like what? Firstly, the world of forms seems like a far-reaching metaphysical theory. One cannot have access to the world of forms, so we can never have knowledge of it or experience of it. We really have no reason to believe in it other than on a purely faith basis. I see. In addition to this, Platonic Realism has other logical problems. Explain. I would like to raise what is known as the third man argument. This was actually raised by Plato himself, acknowledging the problems with the world of forms theory. Let us take the yellow banana. As the theory goes, the yellowness derives from the form of yellow in the world of forms. But where does this form itself get the colour yellow from? The form itself must be yellow, otherwise where does the banana get its yellowness from? However, if the form is yellow, then where does this yellowness derive from? If the form possesses the colour yellow, then has it derived from a higher form of yellow? And then the same question arises, where does this form derive the colour yellow? And so on ad infinitum. Platonic realism will undoubtedly be faced with this problem when trying to explain the concept of universals. Yes, I understand the problem. However, the realists can steer away from Platonic realism and focus on what is termed moderate realism. Now, moderate realism does not argue for a world of forms like Plato does. Instead, the moderate realist argues that all that exists is the particular and its properties, and the universal is just a set of properties that particulars have. No higher form is needed. So the universal of yellow is just the yellow that is in that banana, or that sunflower, or that car. Yellowness is just the qualities that exist as part of the particular. It is not distinct from the particular, but termed as one over many, the one thing that exists in the many. With moderate realism, we can escape the third man argument that faced Platonic realism, yet still hold on to a tangible explanation of universals. Well then, I think this argument actually makes the concepts of universals quite redundant. Essentially, all you are saying is that particulars exist, and you are just claiming that the similarities that they share constitute universals, when really, the only thing that truly exists is the particular. Universals are not then something separate or distinct from the particular. This almost reduces moderate realism to nominalism, and as you said, nominalism is the rejection of universals and the belief that only particulars exist. I disagree. Moderate realism does accept the existence of universals. The similarities of the particulars become the universals, and all these together become something conceptually distinct in their own right. That is why we understand concepts like colour and shape without having to refer to a specific particular. But it seems that moderate realism is complicating what can otherwise be explained in a very simple way. The moderate realist is arguing for universals based on the resemblances between particulars, but in fact, I think resemblance nominalism does a better and simple job in explaining what is going on. How so? As mentioned, nominalism rejects the notion of universals. Resemblance nominalism argues that all we have is particulars and their qualities and resemblances to other particulars. Each particular will have a set of qualities, and we will notice resemblances between the qualities of different particulars. We then group these resemblances into sets. So, the postbox, the stop sign and the strawberry all resemble each other in colour. This resemblance turns into the set of the colour red, and everything that resembles this colour joins this set. This is not a universal, but a set of resemblances between particulars. But what is a resemblance if not a universal? You have described the commonality between these particulars, and these commonalities are what the realists call universals. That is why we understand them without a particular there. This gives them their own ontology and their own existence, the exact thing the nominalist is trying to reject. These resemblances do not need to be considered as universals. They are not distinct from the particular. We only recognize these resemblances because we have perceived the particulars first. But if the resemblance is not distinct from the particular, then how would the nominalist account for the problem of companionship? What's that? The problem of companionship highlights that if we do not have universals and we only have particulars, and we group particulars into sets based on resemblances, then eventually we will have particulars in the sets that bear no resemblance to other particulars in the same set. How so? Okay, let's take a red apple, a red letterbox, and a red stop sign. All these resemble each other in terms of colour. As there are no universals, these particulars are all put in the same set. However, the red apple also bears a resemblance to a green apple, so then a green apple is put into this set. However, the green apple is now in a set with a red letterbox and a red stop sign. These bear absolutely no resemblance, yet they are in the same set. If all we have is particulars and resemblances, the problem of companionship is inescapable and the sets will become ridiculous and meaningless. Well, this can actually be solved if we expand resemblance nominalism further into what is referred to as trope nominalism. Go ahead. So, the trope nominalist can argue that all properties exist as part of the particular and only as part of the particular, but these properties are what we call tropes, and each particular will have a bundle of tropes. This table, for example, has a brown trope, a table-like trope, a wood trope, and so on and so on. So, even though there are no universals and all we have is particulars, each particular will have a bundle of tropes, and when we refer to resemblances, we are acknowledging that some tropes in particulars resemble each other, as we can see, the redness of the stop sign and the redness of the apple, but also the shape and taste of the red apple and the green apple. They do not resemble each other because of a universal. All it is that they each possess a number of tropes, and some of those tropes bear resemblances to another trope and nothing more. This escapes the problem of companionship while still rejecting the existence of universals. I'm sorry, but I just feel that trope nominalism has just complicated the matter further. What we are left with is the idea that each particular has a bundle of tropes and some tropes resemble each other and nothing more. Trope nominalism has not solved the problem of universals but just dismissed it. The trope nominalists have just accepted that particulars have tropes that can resemble other tropes and that's it. Ultimately, it seems to me that trope nominalism is admitting that particulars share resemblances and we can group these resemblances into sets and we can recognize these sets. This to me is just universals with extra steps. If you would like to help support the channel, then please check out the Philosophy Vibe paperback anthology book set available on Amazon. This is a collection of most of our scripts compiled into a 3-volume set: Philosophy of Religion, Metaphysics, and Ethics and Political Philosophy. A great read for anyone learning or studying philosophy. Also, if you want some philosophy themed merch, then be sure to check out our store on Spring. Some great t-shirts, hoodies, mugs and more. All purchases really help us out, and thank you to everyone who has supported us so far. We really appreciate it. But that's all the time we have for now. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the vibe. And what does everyone else think? Who here is a realist and who is a nominalist, and what are your views on universals? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share, and for more philosophical debates, please subscribe to the channel. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye bye.